We talk about food, we talk about music, with musical dudes. Finger on the pulse, snacky tunes.
All right. Welcome to Snacky Tunes. I am one half of your host, DJ Never Forget. Terry Diabolic is sitting down. We have a great show today, actually.
Yo, yo.
Yo, yo.
Hello, hello.
Hello, that is Scooby of Flagrant Foul. What was that remix?
That's actually, I guess, it's a cover of Arthur Russell's song that came out on Electric Minds, I guess maybe late last fall. Joe Worker's singing on it. He's like a young singer-songwriter from London who is on Rough Trade now.
Great
Awesome.
voice. Reminds me of old Arthur.
What's that?
He really invoked that spirit there.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Really just got that, like, smooth swagger.
Yeah, he never heard of him before, I never heard the song, and when I heard his voice, because I did some production for his debut, and it sounded like Arthur and then Anthony, you know?
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Scooby is going to stay with us for the hour. He's going to snack on some pizza,
Oh, yeah.
Robert's Pizza, and then we're going to talk about upcoming Flagrant Foul stuff, soundtracks, fatherhood, robot.
Oh, yeah.
Cannons. We got a lot of stuff to cover. Also on the show today, we have Arthur Allen, who is a former Associated Press foreign correspondent who just was coming out with a book called Ripe, which is all about tomatoes. Tomatoes, however you want to say it. Before we get to that, it's good to have. I feel like we're back in the rhythm.
Yeah,
I know we had a couple weeks off, and then last week's show was good, but now we're back to the speed. As we mentioned last week, we were heading out to Chicago and to Miami to DJ and to play Rachel Ray's Food and Wine Party. Let's start there, and then we'll work backwards.
Yeah, so Rachel Ray's party was at the Raleigh in Miami on Saturday night, and it was a fantastic time. The Cringe, Rachel's husband's band, played, and Lee Schrager was there, and Duff and the Cake.
The entire Ace of Cakes
Ace of
crew.
Cakes who
danced the entire
who
time.
were dancing the entire time. Guy Fieri and his, I think they're called Knuckle Sandwich. I think that's the name of his crew.
No, it's not.
This one guy had a jacket.
Hold on a second. Continue to talk.
Yeah,
I'm going to
it was
now.
good. It was a lot of fun. Big shout out thank you to The Door. It was really great just to throw down some sweet soul jams.
Nice.
See, I haven't given up on soul.
I know.
I've just they bring in the soul for like those types of parties, and then we just hung out. And we'll be back in Miami in like 2 or 3 weeks for WMC.
Knuckle Sandwich refers to his knife series.
Oh,
You think but it could be. It came from his crew.
yeah. I don't know. Anyway, if any of you know, write music at fotpnyc.com, and we'll address that later. And then before that, though,
That's a serious issue that he's.
That is serious. But so
we might have to cancel you.
You guys have to resolve that.
Miami was great, but Chicago was just phenomenal. We we ate great. Big shout out to Only Children, Kid Color, Black Holes, Flostradamus. Really
Really love that town. And every time we go there, I always eat so much more than I'm supposed to. The big first meal we ate was at Big Star, which is the same guys who have done Avec and Publican, which are more of like the high end type of restaurants. Really, Avec is one of the most well known Chicago restaurants.
And Big Star's now this taco place.
Big Star, and it's a taco place, kind of like luncheon type of style, and it's $2 or $3 tacos.
They open up at 4.
They open up at 4. But I'm saying the vibe is like there's a big bar, and then there's a few booths, and it's micheladas and tacos and empanadas.
I'm sorry. How do you pronounce that?
Micheladas?
Michelada.
Sorry. Anyway, it was really good. We also met JR and Catherine from Biz 3, it was nice to meet their face. But the real star of our eating trip was we went to Alinea.
Warm up to that for lunch was Kuma Burger.
Kuma Burger, which I don't know if you know, but Kuma Burger is this metal burger joint in Chicago. I had to convince Terry that we should skip our trip to hot dogs to go to Kuma's, and it's every burger is like Mastodon Burger, Yaw Burger, Pelican Burger, Metallica, and they're just blaring punk rock, they're blaring metal all day.
It had like 13 rules when you walked in the door. It's like no substitutions, don't stand by the kitchen. It was really good.
Wow.
But Alinea, okay, let's just put it this way. For Grant Atches runs Alinea, which is probably one of the best restaurants in the world. It does the whole, avant-garde food, just really playing. And it was a long time coming of going there, but also it had been a long time since we had a fantastic meal like that. And I think one of the best parts of that is like we were actually laughing during the meal in a good way of just that the food was just so much fun and such a presentation, like the hot potato, cold potato, even the end with like the whole bubblegum tapioca thing, which was a lot of fun.
And a lot of I don't want to give away a lot of those things.
Yeah, because a lot of it is surprise.
So you don't want to give away. But what I can say is that now that we've done a lot of these tasting menus, I did Vetri earlier this year, and we've done Noma and
WD-50.
WD-50. Well, no, I separate WD-50 out from this, but a lot of these places are really, it's very serious. It's like it's very much like, two people, since it's usually just Terry and I, it's two people clearing, two people setting it down, and it's very serious and everything. And this was really playful, which I actually hate that word.
I hate the word. The only, I think the two things that I will take away from this is that during the dessert course, the chef himself came out and they put a rubber mat down on
No, you can't say this. I'm actually going to stop.
I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna say what he did, but I'm saying they put down a rubber mat on your table, and they build one of the courses in front of you. And I'm not gonna say what they did because that's sort of the whole like holy crap moment. But just to have the chef there and to watch him plate, and there's a moment like here's a chef, here's someone that we obviously both look up to, especially working with Sam and so many other talents. And I had nothing to say at that moment because just like watching him work and just watching there was just one of those in awe moments where I could run my mouth about what I do with food, but it'd be like talking to like a nuclear scientist being like, I took some, science classes in 9th grade. It was so just like an amazing thing. And the other thing is that like I felt like every time I got up to use the restroom, because it took a 3-hour ordeal, like the entire wait staff just like stopped and cleared a path for me. It was
nice.
It was
But that
nice.
was like those
and they escorted women to the bathroom, like offered their arms. I mean, it was like
Wow.
such class. It was class and it was fun.
And it was like everyone. It wasn't like one guy would do that. It was like whoever was closest. So the expediter, the sommelier, your main waiter, your secondary waiter, all of them were just like whoever was closest, and it was good. I don't want to say too much because the
sommelier's hair
was amazing.
was amazing. I mean, we're talking like there's like fro, and then there's like this, and this was just
It was kind of like
it was like wild.
It was like
Because
Robert Smith with like Malcolm Gladwell type fro,
And I think it stood out because
Wow.
like it was like everyone was in suits and well coiffed, and I'm not saying his hair wasn't, but it was the only just. I don't know. It was crazy. It was really wild. If any of you've been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
But anyway, big shout out also to Only Children, that loft party that we
What a
played.
great loft party. It was a lot of fun.
Looking forward to coming back in Pitchfork.
Yeah.
And thank you to everybody who came out and had the nice things to say.
So we're gonna play a song. Tan Lines has a new record coming out next Tuesday. Do you know Tan Lines?
Oh, I love him. Yeah.
They're having a record release party this Friday at Monster Island, and
Nice.
I will look up the lineup during the break. But excuse me, really love those guys. Really like what they're doing. So we're gonna drop something off the new record. You're listening to. I'm dying here. You're listening. No, I'm good. This is Snacky Tunes. We are your host, Finger on the Pulse. We got Flagrant Foul. I can't do it today. Flagrant Foul in the studio today. We got Arthur Allen coming up after the break. Big shout out to our birders. Big shout out to Jack Ensley and Rec Tech. And take it away. You're listening to Snacky Tunes. Big shout out today to Whole Foods Market, who is one of our sponsors, or who's always our sponsor. Thank you. Oh, I am slowly losing it from that salad. I don't know, something went down incorrectly. Terry, who was that?
That was Tan Lines, Z. Record release party this Friday at, I want to say Brooklyn Bowl?
No, incorrect. It's the Monster Island basement. Blondes are playing.
Are you okay?
Lemonade. I don't know.
Do you need me to come over and pat you on the back?
I'm fine. So very excited today. We're joined by Flagrant Foul. But first up, we have Arthur Allen, the author of the new book, Ripe. Arthur, you there?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
I am very excited to be talking to you because we love food books here.
Good.
So do you want to give our listeners a 30-second background of who you are and what this book is about?
Sure. Well, I'm a journalist and writer. I write a lot about science, and I decided I wanted to write a book about a food that sort of is everybody uses, and tomatoes are great because everyone loves tomatoes, and they come in so many different shapes and forms and everything. And so the book is really looks at two different things. It's just sort of everything you ever wanted to know about the tomato, and then it kind of looks at the tomato as an example of a food, and how sort of the food business deals with this particular fruit in a particular way, and what people think about tomatoes as an example of how they think about food. So I get into sort of the differences between, organic, non-organic, heirloom, hybrids, and all of that. So that's basically what it does, and it covers a lot of ground. It's a lot of sort of visiting with farmers and food processors, farms, and it's a lot of fun.
So what is the current state of the tomato in both the, I would say, like, agribusiness culture and then the individual farm-to-table culture?
Well, I mean, it's just great. I mean, there are so many different kinds of tomatoes you can get, and I had two wonderful experiences. One was with heirloom tomatoes, which are, heritage. You could call them heritage tomatoes, and there are just so many. I mean, there are really thousands of kinds. And I went to festivals. I went to one in Carmel, California, where there were about 400 different varieties, every shape, color you can imagine, and flavor. And then I also hung out with a wonderful guy who's a tomato breeder. He's actually a geneticist, and he's worked in all aspects of the tomato business. And what he's doing right now is he's breeding tomatoes for a company called Del Cabo Farms, which they actually sell in Whole Foods and a lot of different markets, Trader Joe's. And what they produce mainly are little tomatoes, sort of grapes, cherries, and pears, and they just are delicious tomatoes, and they are a really wonderful company because they basically got the idea. It's this couple who had the idea of getting these campesinos in the southern tip of Baja California to grow tomatoes for them, which they ship to the U.S., and it's really kept this culture of small farmers alive down there, and they're producing something that's really great. So, and they're organic. And they're really interesting people. And Kanti Rawal, who is the breeder I hung out with them, is a real character and a great personage.
And for the tomatoes on a global mass scale, what's the current state of that? Do we have the same issue, the concerns of something like
a monoculture?
Monoculture.
Well, I would say, not really, because I mean, it is. I guess there are places where it might be a problem with monoculture, but there. See, my view of this particular crop is that, you can't grow it for more than a couple of years on any piece of ground because you get all of these, viruses and molds and wilts and all kinds of stuff. So people generally, change in terms of sort of, that using particular kinds of tomatoes in these mass operations, that it would somehow threaten, diversity, I really don't think is a problem because, for one thing, they're constantly innovating, not always in ways that are that interesting in terms of flavor, but they're always trying to, make tomatoes that produce better and that, have various things that people like or that are helpful to. and it's almost a different world from the world of the tomato that you get in the supermarket or that you buy at a farmer's market. And there's really no... there was an effort made to create a sort of a genetically modified tomato, and there probably still are, but it was kind of a flop. And even if it succeeded, I don't think it's really a threat to farmers or to anyone else, because there's just so many different kinds of uses and places for all these different tomatoes that, I mean, in fact, what I've seen is just more and more diversity. I mean, even in the Safeway, which, everybody complains about their Safeway tomatoes, I mean, I think even they're better than they were, 10 or 20 years ago, just because there's more diversity, there's more types. The farmers are trying to produce stuff that tastes good rather than just, that you can ship in a truck green and then spray gas on it. So, which turns them red. So there's actually quite a lot of diversity. One thing that was interesting to me, I spent a couple of days picking tomatoes with these immigrant workers down in southern Florida, and they have this very effective movement. They're trying to get better pay, but the tomatoes they produce in southern Florida are really like sort of the low tomato on the totem pole. I mean, they're these tomatoes that basically 60 or 70% of them end up in fast food where no one cares at all what they taste like. And so these companies are selling to the farmers down there are selling to companies like McDonald's and Taco Bell, who are just trying to drive the price down as much as they can because they're producing something that no one cares about. So in terms of the flavor. So that's sort of like that's almost a dying industry down in Florida, where they produce these sort of golf ball tomatoes that don't taste like anything.
Where's the best tomatoes, or what is considered to be the best tomatoes in the world?
The best tomatoes in the world are in your backyard.
Really?
I mean, the best tomatoes in the world are in good climates, Mediterranean climates, where you can control the water, and where they have hot, dry growing seasons, because that prevents the growth of like wilts and all of these fungi that attack the plant, and where you can just water them sort of the amount they need at the time they need. And I think I really felt this, I had this experience down in Baja California, where they're growing these cherry tomatoes, these little tomatoes in the desert, and they were so good. But how do you get them from there up to a supermarket in, California or Colorado or Brooklyn, that's tricky. So they're always best sort of right off the vine, and the climate does have a lot to do with it. And then there's these breeders who are always trying to develop these hybrid tomatoes that, you could grow in Baja California and it would still taste like something when you buy it at a store, 3 days later. And that's a really interesting effort, and I think it's worthwhile. I mean, it's interesting because these guys are shipping tomatoes from southern Mexico all the way up to stores in the U.S. And in some ways, sort of from the green perspective, you think, well, God, isn't it better to buy local? And in general, I think it probably is. But in this case, you're supporting a way of life of these people down in southern Mexico. It's a very good climate to grow them. And so to me, it seems like a very kind of ethical operation, even though you're shipping stuff, a long distance.
Right. And what is the best application of a tomato that you've seen in your research? The most exciting, both what was grown and then its use?
Well, to me, the best tomatoes sort of dish that I've tasted is just a tomato sauce made with fresh, really good tomatoes, like whether they're heirlooms or hybrids, but something that just came out of somebody's garden that are really delicious, and then you cook them up into, a stew with whatever you like to put in it. And I can only eat so many fresh tomatoes, like just
right.
You can't eat them like,
not like
apples or oranges or something. So to me, they're really great. So when you have a really, really sweet, flavorful tomato and then you make it into a sauce, to me, that's like heaven,
Right, I got it. Well, I wanted to thank you for calling in. The book is called Ripe. by Arthur Allen. It is out. What's the exact? I have March here, but what is the exact date?
It's out. It's out.
Oh,
You
it's
can
out.
get it. You can get it at some stores. You can get it on Amazon and various other places.
Great. Well, Arthur, thank you so much for joining us. We really
Yeah, thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thanks
This
for
has been
having me.
informative, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, great. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was interesting.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
didn't. I mean, I'm sure that there's a good history. I wanted to ask him about fun facts about tomatoes, but I'm sure that's a lot of in the book.
And also tomato versus tomato.
That could have gone on forever. So you're listening to Snacky Tunes. We have Terry Diabolic about to drop us a set, and then we have Scooby from Flagrant Foul in studio. We're going to talk about 1,000,001 things. Big shout out to Whole Food Markets, Roberta's, and Jack Inslee and RecTech. And Terry, take it away.
Man, I done heard what them young punks been saying around town. You know, telling folks disco is gone out of style and what do you say, Ray? Yeah, man. Yeah, that is out of fashion. I tell you, fashion's coming, fashion's go. But this sound, disco, it'll never die. Just coming, fashion's go. Just coming, fashion's go. Never die. Just coming, fashion's go. But it'll never die. Never die. Just coming, fashion's go. Just coming, fashion's go. Just coming, fashion's go. But it'll never die. Hear me now. Party people know what the music is. Just coming, fashions go. Just coming, fashions go. Just coming, fashions go. But disco, it'll never die. Just coming, fashions go. Just coming, fashions go. Just coming, fashions go. But it'll never die. Just coming, fashions go. Just coming, fashions go. Just coming, fashions go. But disco, it'll never die. People love to go out. But you see all the ladies going up into the club here, it's because there's dancing going on up in here. That's just coming, fashions go. That's just coming, fashions go. That's just coming, fashions go. But disco, it'll never die. That's just coming, fashions go. That's just coming, fashions go. That's just coming, fashions go. But it'll never die.
I'm stronger now. I'll show you how. Yesterday, you said you were sorry.
right. Snacky Tunes, Terry D fading it down. I'll let him waltz on over here so he can tell us who that was. Who was that?
That was some new stuff, or some new stuff and old stuff I found. The first track is "Never Die" extended mix by Young Punks. Really digging their stuff. I guess they're out of the UK. I think they did that Chicane "Stoned in Love" remix.
Nice.
And then after that was a demo from the lovely Lauren Flax featuring Carrie Wilds.
That's
Stronger
still,
Now.
Still gonna get mixed and matched. That's awesome.
You still got to mix and master. It's gonna be what's the, a heater? Is that what I'm
Heater.
looking for? Heater. And then the new Justin Faust song single "Holding On," and he's actually coming out with Mullenix and Zenobi April 24th at Public Assembly for a Finger on the Pulse presents. Punches and VDRK are playing. Famous Friends are hosting.
Very cool.
Sounds good.
It's you know, it's actually their first big party we're throwing this year. We were just talking about during the break about I mean, let's get you in the mix. I mean,
For people who are just tuning in, Scooby from Flagrant Foul,
AKA Pocketknife.
aka Pocketknife, is in the studio, who we've known for years now.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years
and
now.
we started off DJing together or running laps around each other in the Brooklyn scene, Royal Oak.
Oh wow.
I mean,
yeah.
Back in the day, that's
Yeah,
where we first
that's
met,
true, yeah.
and we were all throwing
Basement of the Charleston.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and we were all definitely throwing more parties 5 years ago than we
Yep.
are today. But you
That's true.
do production now. Let's talk about your production. You're sort the industry term is killing it.
Oh, I like that
Yeah,
that
that's a
term.
good sound. Yeah, let's focus
Yeah.
on Flagrant Foul. I mean, you had wild success with Tambourine Dream.
Yeah, Tambourine Dream was a big one for cousin Cole and I. We, I had this idea for a while to do these these remixes of like folk and kind of acoustic indie songs, and then, Cole got wind of it. I think he probably saw my chalkboard in my studio, like listing all my ideas. So yeah, we put that together, put it out, and then I still get people looking for the vinyl and the mix CD. And some of those remixes we did were like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's nice, because you feel like when you release tracks, you want, you hope they're hot for 6 months. But it's nice, I guess, because these are more classic or like have like a classic sound or something. So people are still wanting them, even though they're like years old.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff has a much longer shelf life. Also,
Yeah.
like remixing Bruce Springsteen, for example,
Yeah.
It's like that song's been around forever and will
Yeah.
continue to be around for
Sure.
forever. So like, I really like, I enjoy that, and you could hear it now or 5 years from now, and it wouldn't be.
Yeah, definitely.
It doesn't have that like.
It doesn't have that, like,
2007
yeah.
sound.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
good to be timeless, and you
Yeah.
guys, and it's really amazing to see like the work that you've done. Also, but you've also worked with modern artists too. You did Leaky Lee and like
Oh yeah,
stuff
sure.
like that.
Yeah.
It's just-
After that, we got an agent in London, and I guess I did the majority of the stuff they sent over. But yeah, so we were getting commissioned remixes. I guess maybe a year and a half ago. It was like a couple remixes each, every month, doing different artists: Leaky Lee, Adele. I did, I think the first one I did was like Paul Weller. And
Okay.
it's like a wide variety, but it's like, yeah, I just took on all the projects. And then, I have some people like contact me directly now since I've developed some, relationship with some different labels.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But what I also find exciting is that, a lot of people who are remixers also have, that's all they just do remixes and touring. But your big projects is that you do scores.
Yeah, I've done some like film score work. I wrapped a big project for the New York Times. This documentary that's coming out. I think it's gonna premiere this at the end of the month at MoMA. But
What, can you say what it's on? Or is
yeah,
it-
it's actually about Bill Cunningham. The Times is a fashion photographer. He's like he's an amazing guy. Like he's I think 81. He rides his bike everywhere. He was like the original photographer for Details magazine when it was more like it's little black and white, almost like a zine, I guess. It was when it came out in Soho, like the whole downtown scene. But yeah, it's on his life. So the director actually heard one of my remixes and then thought that I'd be, I guess, I don't know, would be appropriate for the project. And then it kind of turned into more like a classic sounding score, strings, woodwinds, things like that. And I did some, a bit of editing of some music they already had some like music they wanted to use, like pre-existing stuff. So I did some editing, kind of using my remix technique, like technical ability skills.
So is it more classical, or is it like a juxtaposition of like classical and sort of remix culture?
Actually, I mean, they're not. There's a couple scenes, like some runway shows, where there's some like I think some of my production is there, but I mean, I guess not classical, but like more like a classic sounding film score versus it being like, like remixes of songs and whatnot.
Like No Ignition remix?
No, no, they're not using Ignition.
But and then just to add that to even on top of the plate, you've also done sound design for electronics.
Oh yeah,
which is really awesome.
That's
really
actually I like to do more of that. It's a company, a startup in Silicon Valley called Nido. They have this robot. I think it's coming out this month. It has a very Star Wars name. It's called the Nido XV11, and it's supposed to be like the direct competition for the Roomba. So it's like high powered, high tech vacuum cleaner. And I got hired to do their basically like their audio logos, startup sound, shutdown sound, and then it plays this little jingle when it's done cleaning your loft or your house.
Can you hum the jingle?
I think when it's done, I almost kind of mimic like the Charge, like do 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 do. It's something like that. It's a variation on that.
Very
So
cool. I mean,
awesome.
we were just reading about these new robots that can cook.
Oh yeah.
There was just a big article in the Times about them, and how they have personalities, and how there's actually two of them that are sushi chefs that when they are not as busy, they will like squabble.
Yeah, bicker.
Oh really?
like bicker?
master
Like in
and
Japanese?
apprentice.
Or
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
Okay.
Whatever language you want it to be in.
wow.
Did you
Give
put
me-
in a like fight challenge song for when it gets in the same room as a Roomba? like it senses it and it's just
I actually like that. Maybe the next version,
Yeah.
XV11 or like XV12 maybe.
Yeah, 12 is
like
or
some-
like the updated version.
Yeah.
So
How
you
about
know,
this? Let's get you on the decks.
yeah.
Okay.
so-
And we'll bring you back.
Okay.
We'll talk for another few minutes.
and we'll talk
Okay.
about the Arthur Russell tribute on Thursday.
Oh sure. Okay.
We'll talk about
Sounds
upcoming
good.
shows.
Okay.
And then we'll just save one song. That's your banger. That's how we're gonna go out. on
Okay.
today.
Okay.
So we'll let you walk
Okay,
over and set
alrighty.
up, and we'll take care of it.
Snacky Tunes.
Snacky Tunes. I'm full from this pizza.
That pizza was good. Oh, big shout out. Big shout out. Pies and Thighs, South 4th and Driggs.
Oh yeah, they reopened.
Reopened today. Oh, you know what? The applause, the effects buttons aren't even here anymore. Woo!
Yay.
Anyway, big shout out
Man,
to Pies and Thighs.
I might have to dip on over there after the gym.
But also big shout out to Gabe and his team, the same guys who helped build out the Rising Tide Loft, worked on Pies and Thighs. But get over there. I'm sure there's already.
I'm
a
sure
line.
there's a line.
I'm sure there's a line. I'm sure like Eater is doing a live.
I'm sure there's gonna be like a live
feed
from now
coverage.
until tomorrow
But anyway, so
of
you
next
know,
year.
thank you to adding more fat to all of our thighs. But you're listening to Snacky Tunes on heritageradionetwork.com. We got Scooby on the decks. Shout out to
AKA Pocketknife.
AKA Pocketknife, Jack Inslee, Rec Tech.
Here we go.
Here we go.
If you ask for me tonight, I'll let you drive off in the morning. I know I want you in the shoulder, but no one comes around. You go where I was, all good to the wall. Don't mind skin lights, they blink into lights. If it gets in your eyes, just look into mine. Just look into mine. Just look Every step is moving me up. Every step is moving me up. still most of me. That's I hope you remember. I'm still part of you. You're still most of me. Yeah. So there's no limit. But I'm just another fallen hero. And I know, just a ghost of a man.
All right. That's pretty sweet.
That's some smoothed out sounds for
Yeah.
Monday afternoon.
Yeah.
Definitely after pizza music.
Yeah, I feel like I want to take a nap. I mean, I felt like I want to take a nap, but now I feel like I have my soundtrack to... you know what would actually be good? Like, if I was getting a massage, and I was like, yo, let me bring my own music, that could be good, like, massage
Yeah.
music. No?
Nice.
Yo, massage music. That's like
Because so what you're saying is that when you're getting massage, you want to be thinking of Scooby?
Oh.
Oh yeah,
That's
Yeah,
fine. That's okay.
fine.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
whatever.
He's
Whatever.
handsome.
Yeah, whatever
Okay.
it needs. He's proud papa.
So who'd you
Yeah.
play?
Let's see. That was New Frequency Motor City Drum Drum Ensemble remix. I love that dude. I think he's German maybe, but yeah, he's called Motor City Drum Ensemble. Let's see. I played an Arthur Russell edit that young producer out of I think definitely Australian, maybe Melbourne. He did that. And what else did I play? Let's see.
Tori Moi?
Oh yeah, Tori Moi, loving that dude's stuff.
Loving that dude.
Yeah,
He
man.
just had like a sold out show here.
At Cameo, right?
At Cameo.
Yeah.
They said they had to turn like 100 people away.
Wow.
Big shout out to Famous Friends. Way to knock it out of the park, kids.
Yeah. I missed that, but I'm gonna go next time. I think he's here at the end of this month, right?
Where's
I think at, like,
where's he from?
Philly, right?
Some states somewhere.
He's
I think,
awesome.
Or no, actually, maybe he's from maybe he's
I
like
think that, yeah, I don't think
further down, maybe like Baltimore or somewhere down there. But
really smooth that sounds.
yeah, that dude I played, and then In Flagranti, like their new their new
Columbia,
track.
South Carolina.
Yeah. So
Sweet. So speaking of stuff you're playing, you have a big show coming up on Thursday.
yes, at Santos Party House with it's Electric Minds. They're the label that put out the Arthur Russell cover cover tribute record. So Danny Krivet's like the big DJ for that night. It's gonna be pretty dope.
Danny Krivitz?
Yeah, Danny Krivet. Yeah,
Love Danny.
I know. 2-hour set, I think at least. He probably wants to do like
6.
6 hour. But
All those guys want to do I don't know what it is, but when they're like, oh, we do like 6 to 8 hours, I go, what?
yeah, Cole and I played a 6-hour set at a festival in UK. It was when you got there, you're like, oh man, but then you get in the mode and you're just like, it's over before you know it. But
6 hours.
yeah. But yeah, so Danny, Brendan Green's playing. Yamhoo, I think they did like half of the cover versions on the Go Bang tribute. And then I'm performing live. So I did a remix of a couple people who used to play with Arthur. So we're gonna perform, and now it's actually gonna be like everybody that's in their full band, who are all old friends of Arthur's. And there's gonna be like, I think we're just doing the disco stuff. Like there's a live version of Go Bang with like a boys choir. So it should be a good night.
What times they all start?
I think it starts on the early side. I don't know if maybe I guess doors at 8 and it starts at 10, something like that.
Wait, doors. What are Peter's gonna hang for 2
I
hours?
don't. You know what? Let's say it starts at 10.
Okay, let's say
Yeah.
it starts at 10.
Yeah.
Awesome. So party
So-
time.
Yep. So party time. Yep. So that's happening this Thursday. It's gonna be a good time.
That's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Santos. Gotta love Santos.
Love Santos and
Yep.
that whole crew over there.
Yeah.
So we should have you play one more song.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, what are you gonna play for us?
This is actually my dear friend and label mate cohort, Cousin Cole. It's one of his new edits that's going to be on a 12-inch EP coming out next month, or actually maybe at the end of this month. It's the second in our Canyon Dancing series, which is like edits, remixes of like more like art rock, kind of psyche, bearded warlock stuff.
Warlock stuff.
Yeah.
We're like,
Okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's awesome.
some of that Merlin rock.
Not Merlin.
Merlin is the wizard.
Oh yeah, Merlin. Yeah, more. I guess more like
that joke just failed so bad. I mean,
Wow.
that would really.
I missed that one.
Maybe I can cast a spell to make
Yeah.
you laugh.
No. No. Don't even go for 3.
I love Merlin though.
Don't even go for
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you,
We've been
guys.
trying to have you on here for a while.
I know.
You've been busy, man.
Yeah.
I think since
And,
that yacht ride where you and I like hung out and talked about music for a long time.
Oh, right. Yeah. When Canyons were here? Was that?
Yeah.
Yeah. that's a
Oh,
long
yeah.
time
That's,
ago.
That was a long time ago.
But congratulations on the score.
Thank you.
MoMA and Anisma. What's the documentary called?
I think it's gonna be called "I'll Be Your Mirror." They're using. I actually did an edit of like the Velvet song with Nico. I'll Be Your
Awesome.
Mirror. So yeah.
Did you
Excellent.
throw a little bit bass under there?
I was, I had I was like, man, where's the tambourine? That
Yeah.
4/4, but I held back. I just did, a nice, thoughtful edit of it.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
that's the beauty of like re-editing those songs. It's like they will always get play.
Yep.
Just like always, like
Yep.
they're just classics, and
Definitely.
people just want to be able to mix them.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So-
So, we're gonna let you walk on over there.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Never forget, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Next week up, we have Treasure Fingers in the studio,
Awesome.
which will be great. We are playing a big party with them and famous friends. Next
Discovery on
next
the
Saturday.
13th or 12th. Shout out to Heritage Radio. We're Snacky Tunes. Jack, Inslee, Rectech, Roberta's Whole Foods. See you next week.
Cousin Folk exclusive. exclusive.